You've worked with Anthony Quinn, Diane Keaton. Okay, but my favorite, and this is the main thing I want to talk to you about.
Okay. All right.
The Partridge Family. You played Maggie in Road Song.
Yes, yes.
You were a runaway, and I was going to marry David Cassidy.
David Cassidy was so sweet, and I at the time I didn't know. I think it was right at the beginning of the series. Do I look at you or hi?
To me.
Okay, you. Okay. I didn't know what a big hit it was, or was it, or maybe it was one of the first couple episodes. But for years, people would say, "Oh, Partridge Family! I saw you in Partridge Family," and because everyone in that era had David's picture in their their rooms, they just loved David Cassidy. And I
Oh no, he was only in my room. He was all over my wall. I was third or fourth or fifth grade. Fourth grade. I was going to marry him, Lauri. And I was so jealous of you or any girl that was anywhere near him but I mean.
He was so sweet. He was really, really sweet. And it was right at the beginning of my career. In fact, I think it was the second show I ever did. And I was just so nervous. I was so nervous. I was always therefore cast nervous or fearful or whatever. But I feel very blessed I had the career I had. I was fortunate and worked a lot in the 70s, usually doctor shows or detective shows, or never playing normal, always playing a quirky child in trouble, Gunsmoke playing a wild child, and blind, crippled, schizophrenic, or dying. I died a lot. So my agent used to say, if I see you with sheets in a hospital room anymore, he said, I don't know. But I really feel very blessed. I worked with the people I worked with and had a nice run at it.
Well, it's when I first saw you in the hallway this morning, actually. I mean, I'd seen you all over television when I was growing up. But I mean, this is what I remember the most was just the wild blonde hair. And you look so much the same, just this gorgeous look. I mean, you're the same girl. Over and over. I could show you all these pictures and they're beautiful. You're the same woman as you were this beautiful girl, this young actress. But you've worked with some amazing people. And I said, Dr. Quinn, I am literally blind. I think I'm legally blind. I'm going to get my...
I auditioned for Dr. Quinn, didn't get it, but I did audition.
But you worked with Anthony Quinn, which I think is much cooler than that.
Oh.
And what movie was that? Or what?
Well, Anthony Quinn had a short-lived... No, actually it wasn't short-lived, but he had a television series called The Man in the City, and I was a high school student that played a harp that accused my high school orchestra teacher, I think it was, that I was pregnant. And so I was accusing a teacher that he made me pregnant. And it turned out that was not very nice of me. I was a troubled child. And but Anthony Quinn was so nice to me, and I always played troubled children. He was so nice to me and would want to, give me advice and mentor me. And I remember the last day of shooting, there was a party on the soundstage, and they were playing Zorba, and he was dancing, and he was also learning how to play the piano when we were shooting. In his trailer, you could hear him, not chopsticks, but he had a zest of living and life, and I never saw him again afterwards. I was too shy. He said, please call me if you want any mentoring or advice, and it was so generous of him. I was too shy. Wow, Anthony Quinn. I didn't know who Anthony Quinn was, but a lot of these people I knew who Betty Davis was when I worked with her, but a lot of people, amazing people. Later on I went, oh my gosh, I worked with Julie Harris. I worked with these people that I'm really grateful I had the career I had,
Well, we have to back up a little bit because I wanted to ask you about Betty Davis because she is one of my all-time favorites. So tell us about working with Betty Davis.
Well, she loved to give advice, and
tell us what were you in with Betty Davis?
It was called The Secret of Harvest Home. And
that was so creepy.
It was creepy. And Betty would try to give me advice not to sit under the hot lights while they were preparing, lighting. It could take sometimes, I don't know, a half an hour or more to light a scene. And I just like to kind of relax and be under the lights to prepare for what I was about to do. And she would give me advice saying, don't sit under the lights, have your stand-in do it because your makeup will melt and don't do that. And she also told me I didn't need, because I always cried a lot. I was always crying, and in the parts, not in life. I had a very happy childhood, actually, except for, well, yeah, I did lose a brother, but we won't talk about sad things today. But I basically had a wonderful parents and a wonderful childhood. But she would always say, "Don't cry. Don't use real tears." That she told me that. She said, "You might have a happy scene coming up right after, and you'll be all worn out." And she talked about how they would light and those wonderful shots of her gazing out of a window or something, and the tear just perfectly streaming down. But in television, we didn't have the time to, light the way they used to for Now Voyager or some of those great films she was in. But she broke my heart. She was so vulnerable under all that crust. She was vulnerable. And the hair lady, years later, I worked with her, who did Betty's hair, and they were really good friends. And she said she used to come to my house in Burbank with no makeup on, no wig, no nothing, and help her clip her roses in the front yard. And nobody knew it was Betty Davis in her little, 1,100 square foot house there, just loving to help her with her rose garden, clip the roses. They were really good friends.
So what was your all-time favorite part as an actress? And theater or television, movies?
For me, I was in a play with Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, and Maureen Stapleton at the Mark Taper Forum in Los Angeles. It was a Sean O'Casey play called Juno and the Paycock, an Irish play, 1917 period. And Walter played my father, and Maureen played my mother, and Jack Lemmon had just won Academy Award for Save the Tiger. And working with them on stage for, and rehearsing for, I don't know, a month, and then a couple months, 3 months, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 months, in this play was the highlight of my life. I just, evidently you can see it at the New York Library, but I never, they filmed it one day on our day off. They put the set on a soundstage, and they actually filmed it. I'd love to have a copy of it someday, but I don't know. I have to go to New York to see it. They were wonderful. Walter was wonderful to my father. Jack was vulnerable. He was so nervous, and I'd say, "Why are you so nervous?" He said, "Because I just won an Academy Award, and I have to, I live up to it." And he was so vulnerable, and not Betty Davis, Maureen Stapleton was wonderful. I mean, these were great people, and I was right on stage with them every night. Oh my gosh. And Walter kept trying to make Maureen and we had to sing a birthday song to him, and his back was to the audience, and he was making all kinds of faces helping us, or trying to get us to crack up. I mean, he was such a wonderful man, and it was beautiful to my father, too. My father, no one in my family was from show business at all. I mean, they were terrified that what's going to happen to my daughter's faith. I'm a Christian, and I was raised a Christian. They were really worried. But Walter, when my father went backstage after opening night, I took my parents to opening night, and it was everyone was there in the world because of those guys. And my dad was so shy, and Walter saw him across the room and said, "Mr. Prange, I want to meet you," and just went right over and made my dad feel special because he was so shy about this whole world. So,
Lauri Prange, amazing show business career, and the fact that you're here and you're normal and you're a Christian and you're still intact, and it's wonderful, and I'm so happy for you that you're a light in Hollywood. So that's a really good thing, and it's very rare. So congratulations. And I'm so happy to know you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to know you too. Oh my gosh, wonderful, wonderful people here. I am having so much fun. So much fun.